God shaping us and shaping our personal lives through the experiences He brings us through, and God orchestrating things in a way that we could not have orchestrated. The spring of '65, Ted Martin had organized some of the students to sing some music around we had a kind of an open mic, and students were sharing about the difference that Christ is making in their lives. And at the end of it, Ted had asked a couple of students banging on guitars and so on, just to lead us in some songs. And I love to sing, and I've always loved to sing. I sang as a kid. I sang in church as a kid. So music had just been always part of my life. So I was just blissfully unaware of the fact that I was singing and enjoying myself. And I was sitting behind somebody whom I had no idea who she was, but she turned around after that meeting was over and she said, "Hi, I'm Marnie, and who are you?" And I said, "I'm John Austin, freshman. This is my first Campus Crusade meeting." And she said, "I really enjoy your voice. And could I invite you to come and maybe just sing with us a little bit? This week we're going to be having some rehearsals, and we've been invited to go and sing on another campus." So I said, "Sure, I mean, I love to sing, so that sounds like kind of fun." And that group of students ended up becoming the New Folk, the first music team of Campus Crusade.
He took my feet from the miry clay. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And put them on the rock to stay. Yes, he did. Yes,
For a whole week, we did nothing but have big events with speakers, and Andre Cole, of course, was there, and Bill Bright spoke a couple of times. And the New Folk was kind of like sort of the warm-up team for these big major events that happened all week. And at the end of that week, Bill Bright asked if he could have breakfast with us. And he said, I'm impressed with what you all are doing. I want you to pray about the possibility of taking a year out of school and just travel all over the country and do what you did here on the campuses all across the United States." And the others in the group pretty much said, "We'll pray about it. Yes, we'd like to do that, Bill." And basically we made the decision that morning to travel and to be a ministry team, music ministry team that touched, I don't know, 150 campuses maybe that year, I don't remember. The New Folk was in some ways quite a revolution in terms of music. In some ways you could say, at least in terms of having been widely heard across the country, maybe the first contemporary Christian music group that was nationally known. The late 60s on into the early 70s was quite a radical time, and doing something kind of radical and crazy wasn't unusual. And so to have some music group jump up on the stage and use a more contemporary style of music and proclaim an interesting message that many people by that time were beginning to question whether it had any relevance for today was new and fresh. And I think that God used it in an amazing way in an amazing number of people's lives. We continue to meet from time to time people when we travel in various parts of the country. And somehow the conversation might, once they hear I've been with Campus Crusade that long, wow, you're old. No, been that long, and happen to have been part of the musical team called New Folk, and people will light up and say, "I was at Tulsa in 1966 when you guys sang, and that was a turning point for me." Our whole story is about God in His perfect timing, bringing the right person at the right time for a decision in our lives. Jesus is all about God coming to us. We could not make our way to Him. He had to come and find us. And so what we're about, I mean, even today, from my story, I couldn't have orchestrated being in the fraternity house I was in, and that Campus Crusade is right across the street. I mean, I didn't plan that. God is always planning. God is always moving. God is always working. And that musical team getting launched by By the way, some of the more unlikely ones to have done so, because none of us were professional or trained musicians. We're all just a bunch of kids who like to sing, and somehow God was pleased to use that. So, you know, it's almost a cliche that it's your availability that God is pleased to use. We just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and we were available. But think of the years now since that so many dozens of different music teams have gone all over the world. Some from that very group ended up going to Asia. Another group went off to Europe, and several groups were spawned in the States, and it inspired local ministries to start their own. And of course, what is now the great keynote group of musicians and ministries. So God, how God works. Yeah.